Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another wonderful webinar from Ebere Okoye, the Wealth Building CPA. My name is Yasmin Razak. I'm your host today, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Sola and Tope Adeyemo, who are clients of Ebere's and also very successful real estate investors. So I'm sure you'd be interested to hear about how they got into it and how they've managed to build this into a thriving business. So thank you for joining us, Sola and Tope.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, I'll just give a brief introduction to you two, and then we'll go straight into it. So Sola Adeyemo is a network engineer by profession with a background in accounting, while Tope Adeyemo is a Maryland licensed real estate agent with a background in architecture. Together, they started investing in real estate back in 2008, and since then, they've acquired and renovated 5 properties, 3 being cash-flowing rentals, and the other 2 were rehab and retail projects. In 2011, their company, Heritage Industries Team, LLC, was created to further establish their real estate endeavors with a goal of increasing their rental, residential portfolio, and managing more of their rehab and retail projects. When they're not doing real estate, they're doing life together as a married couple, listening to music, watching basketball games and movies, and enjoying spending time away with their 2 children. So again, welcome on to this webinar, Sola and Tope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Obviously, you're successful in all different areas in business and as a couple, which will be the envy of many listeners, I know. But people who listen to these webinars basically are interested in how you got together for the real estate business and how you keep it going. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate investing?
For me, I've always been interested in properties. As you can see, I have a background in architecture, so always loved how the whole thing comes together, a home comes together and all that. And I used to work for a design build firm. So when I branched out to become an agent, I got more interested in buying and flipping, selling houses. So that's basically how my interest has been long time. But in 2008, when the market seemed like it was low enough for us to go in, because somehow we figured out we have to have some cash to go in, and it was sort of low enough for us to go in. We just took the plunge.
Okay, great. And was that the same for you, Sola? Did you go into it at the same time?
Absolutely, and for me it was more of burnout of passion, and now I'm beginning to think maybe there's more of purpose to it, and this is what I mean by that. I've always known that, until I had it from Jim Rohn, he says profit are better than wages, and my thing has always been, you know what, I would really like to have a business whereby you could make profit from, as opposed to you working. And Jim Rohn has better put it in a different way. He said, if you work better in your job, you make a living, and that if you work better in your business, you make a fortune. And I said to myself that I think you're better off making a fortune because you'll be in a position to help other people, and you would truly be a blessing to people around you and to yourself too. As a result of that, I knew that real estate is one of the vehicles, and I'm quite sure now that it's the vehicle that I need to get me to that point.
Okay, great. I mean, I know a lot of people get into real estate initially, obviously, to make quick cash, which is good strategy as well. But after a while, you start to realize that you're helping people get rehoused, helping families rebuild, as well as realizing your own wealth as well. So that's great to hear that's how it is for you guys. Now, could you tell us a little bit about the first deal that you ever did, what it was like doing? Did you do it on your own? Did somebody walk you through it? What were some of the pitfalls?
The first deal, it was kind of like, it was challenging in the sense that we weren't so sure of, we hadn't worked in the city we bought in before, and we didn't know the place. But we found the property, we put it under contract, and we did inspections on it, and then when we did inspections, we found a whole lot of things going on, and we were like, I think we're going to get into a bind here. So we had to go back. It was a bank-owned property. We went back to the bank and said, we want to lower the price because we thought, hey, there's much more going on with the property. And I don't know, for some reason we had some kind of favor. The bank dropped the price $20,000. So it was like it was a great experience.
Okay. What about you, Shola? Did you guys have any nerves or anxiety about doing your first deal?
Oh, you better believe that happened. Since it was the first deal we were going to do, the first thing I think that I would say we run into was the first stumbling block was issues with contractors because we thought we had a great contractor, but until we gave him the job, and the money left the pocket. Then we wrote the check, all to find out that the job wasn't done the way it had to be done. But in the long run, we had to fire a couple of contractors until we got the right one to get the job done.
Right. Okay. I mean, obviously that's a big deal, is having the right people to do the work for you, because you're not physically going to be in there with a hammer and a nail. So you need to be able to trust your contractors and other workers. So yeah, that is a very common challenge for many new real estate investors till they get their team together. Now, we talked about some of the challenges that you faced. What were some of the great moments, like when you got your first big check, or when you thought, you know what, this is going to be really a great way to build wealth and help people? Could you tell me about a moment when you both realized that you were on the right track?
Well, it started from the time we got that property, and we were in the process of closing in the property, and we did our due diligence and had an inspection and found out that there were a whole lot of problems. But, in the midst of that, it presented a great opportunity because we knew that if we were able to get the bank to agree to what we wanted, and at that point in time, it was never heard of that a bank would drop the asking price by $20,000. So at that point, I knew that whichever way we did this, we were going to end up actually ending up with some cash flow or making a profit out of it. But we knew right from the onset that we were going to be renting this property. So the key thing for us was to have cash flow coming from it. And that worked out great, and I guess that kept us going pretty much. And since it was the very first one we were doing, we just had to, in Monso, we had gone to different seminars, and now we had the chance to put all what we've learned and heard there to practice. So that was the payout.
Okay, great. And sorry, did you want to say something, Shola?
It's me, Tope.
Sorry, Tope.
Once we got that one done and was really cash flowing, it gave us the courage to go ahead and do the next one because we're like, oh, this is good. And then,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. Now, would you mind talking about any numbers? Would you like to share with listeners, maybe what your biggest profit was or your biggest check that you got?
We know most of our properties, and we have 3 rental properties now, and we're cash flowing an average of like $400 to $500 on each one of them.
Wonderful. That's great. And how long has that taken you? When did you start doing these deals?
The first rental was in 2008. We did another one in 2010.
Wow.
And then we did another one in 2012.
Okay, so you've achieved all this in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. That's great. Now, what advice would you give to people who are listening, who are perhaps thinking about getting into investing but have been very nervous about doing it? What sort of motivation would you give them?
I'll start by telling them that the best thing that can happen to a man is to decide that he wants to do something. But what you want to do after that is you have to plan where you want to go from there, where you see yourself going, meaning that you have to have a plan in place for what you want to do. And you definitely have to be sure that you have different strategies in place, because I found that if it's the first one, you're definitely going to be nervous, but you're going to have to get over that. And I think one of the ways you can get over that is by listening to education materials that has to do with real estate investing, and also finding someone that can pretty much mentor you, because if you can find someone that can mentor you, then that person has been there before, so they can actually walk you through the different steps and the different stages you have to go through. And by so doing, it would increase the new investors' learning curve.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you for that. Now, obviously, you know, you're being interviewed for Ebere Okoye's wealth building website webinar series. Could you tell us a little bit about how you first met Ebere and how she's helped you along the way?
Well, pretty much, we were referred to her by one of our pastors in church, but I actually knew her in person, and we just held into her contact and meaning her information, so we never called her. But it got to a point where we were starting to do more properties and we were getting into rehabbing. At that point, we figured out there was no way we were going to be able to do our taxes itself, because it was getting a little bit complex. And then since I wasn't an expert in that, I decided, and my wife told me that we'll be better off if we call someone that's an expert, or find someone that's an expert. And then we both remembered that we had the various contacts, and that's how we gave her a call, and we get to this history now.
Okay, great. And how would you why would you recommend her to people listening to handle not just taxes, but you know, she also gives great wealth building advice as well?
Oh, definitely. She's very knowledgeable. Things that you don't even think of, you know, ways you can manage your money, ways you can manage your finances. She's very knowledgeable with that. The taxes, she knows how to put the numbers together. That, you know, trying to do your taxes yourself, I think is doing oneself a disservice. But going to Ebere, she has the knowledge and all the skills. It's been wonderful, because she's giving us tips and on what to do or what not to do, and how to put things together, structuring, even sometimes even financing, how we can structure financing for projects and all that. So I'll highly recommend her.
Okay. That's great. So just to wrap up this interview, what is next in line for the Adeyemo real estate investing team? What big projects have you got lined up, or what do you see yourself doing in 5 to 10 years' time with your real estate business?
Oh, we wouldn't change one thing. The only thing is I believe and I know that our pace of doing what we do now will be much more faster. And what we'll want to do is branch out into other kinds of real estate investment, so that way we could pretty much work in building a better portfolio, if you would permit me to use that word, so that we'll be in a position to really be a blessing to others.
Okay, that's great. Now, and finally, for anybody who would like to do a deal with you, bring a deal to you, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Oh, They can, you need a phone number? Or,
Yeah, whatever you prefer. If you prefer email or if you prefer a phone number, just so people know how to get in touch with you.
okay, they can call me because I do the acquisition. My number is 202-279-1246. I'll
Okay,
say it again, 202-279-1246. They can reach me on that number, and we can take it from there. And, I mean, we're pretty much open to. We have retail, and anything. We can
okay,
find.
great. Well, thank you so much, Sola and Tope, for your time today. It's great to hear another inspiring story. And I wish you guys the best of luck with your investing business. And thanks again for sharing it with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and good night, everyone.
Bye.